All right. Welcome back, my friends. Alonso here. This is another episode of the Let's Make Synthwave show. Today, on episode number 12, we're going to be making music in the style of Knight Rider, which is a very famous show back from the 80s. It has an awesome theme music. Thank you very much, guys, for being here. Now, before we start, a couple things. I want to say that we're not going to be making a straight up recreation of Knight Rider. I'm going to show that, just a quick snippet of that. But the intention is to use some of the elements that are present in the Knight Rider theme and make our own music inspired by it. So it's not going to be a blow-by-blow recreation of Knight Rider theme. And this program is going to last for 2 hours roughly. During the first hour, we're going to create the musical elements that then we'll use the second hour for to turn into a quick and dirty arrangement of like 40 bars, which is like a minute and a half of music. And before we get started, just as a public service announcement, the first Synthwave Dojo live group experience of this year is going to be kicking off on Sunday, and it's a program called Track in a Month, where I'll show you how to start and finish a track within a month. And you'll be joined by a group of synthwave producers around the world to go through this program, like I said, where I'll guide you, I'll take you by the hand to show you my process of starting and finishing a track in 30 days, with the hopes that you can then do this in 2 weeks or 3 weeks tops, right? So if you like to find, to know more about it, then find a link in the description of this video. Cool, so with that out of the way, let's turn over to the DAW and kick things off. This is what we have so far. Okay, so this is a very quick recreation of the Knight Rider theme. If you go on Google or search on YouTube Knight Rider theme, you'll find plenty of tutorials, people explaining you how you can play this on guitar, bass, on the synths, how to produce this, right? So I just took inspiration from that and note for note did this recreation, but this is not what we're going to be doing today. But in any case, let me show you just some of the elements of the Knight Rider theme that then we can reuse and change and edit to our advantage. So first off, we have the drums. In this case, it's just simple 707 drum samples. Kick, snare, the hats. Well, actually, the hats are Lin 9000, if I'm not mistaken. I wanted a little bit of a chunkier sound than what the 707s were providing me. So it's a very, very simple pattern. We have the kick. Let me loop this thing over here. The kick playing on the downbeat, but then a 16th note on the next downbeat. Simple snare in the 2 and 4, and we have a hi-hat pattern that has some very nice movement with an open and closed motion, but fairly simple. Okay, the other part of this groove is, of course, the bass. This is what we have. It's very simple, but it is a particular rhythm that's very recognizable. And if you like synthwave, this contrasts with the, let's say, the philosophy or the typical synthwave pattern of playing straight 16th note, like rolling 16th note bass lines, or straight or rolling 8th note bass lines. This has a rhythm, this has some accents, some stuff in there, but it's very cool. But still fairly simple. Okay, the bass and the drums together, they sound like this. Okay, be that way, fine. Hold on. Let's do this. Let me mute the synths. All right. Pretty cool. The next element is a palm muted guitar that sounds like this. And I'll tell you more about it in a second. Next up, the chords. Okay. And finally, the main lead. The next time around, it has a little change. Right there. It's a different note. Okay, so roughly, this is Knight Rider theme. It changes a little bit. It has a few additional sounds, but in a nutshell, this is it. Okay, let's talk about the musical aspects of the theme. It's in the tempo of 116 BPM. The key is very interesting because it's in the key of B harmonic minor. In synthwave, it's very common to use major and natural minor scales and keys. And in cyberpunk and dark synth, that kind of thing, you can definitely run into harmonic minor scales and keys. So here, using B harmonic minor is what also gives this theme a bit of a darker character. And specifically, let me just head over here to this website called Scales and Chords. What I did is, as I was going online and researching this theme, someone taught it on guitar and said, yeah, it's F sharp major chord followed by E minor. So I came here and then I did a lookup. For example, here I entered the notes in the scale that I knew, which are the notes of the chords F sharp major and E minor, which are F sharp, A sharp, C sharp, and E minor is E, G, B. Then I did find scale, and it comes back with B harmonic minor. It gives me a whole lot of stuff here, but somewhere else I just looked up the B harmonic minor scale, and it gives me the most important triads, which are B minor, C sharp diminished, D augmented, E minor, F sharp major, G major, and A sharp diminished. So in this case, the chords are F sharp major, and then we go down to E minor. So thinking about Roman numerals, this is going from the 5 to the 4 in a in the B harmonic minor scale, and it's this thing over and over: F major down to E minor, F major down to E minor, and at some point it changes to G major, then goes back to F major and E minor. So for the most part, it's just these two chords: F major, F sharp major, down to E minor. All right. So now looking at our parts that I just showed you, the bass is simply playing the root notes: F sharp, F sharp, F sharp, and then here E minor, F sharp, all F sharp, down to E, with a little bit of a turnaround note here, playing G. G is part of the E minor chord, but it's also one of the chords in B harmonic minor. Okay, so that's the bass. Very simple. And the chords that we were playing here are just straight up F sharp major and E minor. And I'm playing this E minor inversion just because I felt that if you listen to the original theme, first they play F sharp major, and then when they play the E minor, it feels like it's going higher, it's not going lower. So I just adjusted the notes, or used an inversion to force E minor to go just a little bit higher than F sharp major, and that's pretty much it. Okay. And I didn't try to go for the exact patches and synth sounds. I just went for something that that kind of worked, which I'll get back to in a second. And finally, we have the lead. Oh, we have the guitar, but I'll come back to that in a second. So this lead is made up of a few themes or I forgot the name. The right word for theme. Let me get my bearings back in a second. Man, I forgot the musical term for that. In any case, we have like this bit of a triplet thing that then has like a longer note, then repeats again, but doing just different notes, different pitches, and then once more with a variation. Motif is the musical term that I was trying to remember. I know some of these things happens just when I'm live streaming. In any case, a funny thing is that, at least for me, as I was listening to the theme, specifically this lead, yeah, Fairlight Odyssey motif, I was thinking to myself, you know what, this lead sounds to me like classical music because it's very sophisticated. It has the motif development. It has these triplets that doing this is not typical of a typical let's say a normal pop and rock or electronic music producer. It's very sophisticated, rhythmically, melodically. It does sound to me like classical music, and this is one of the cool things about the dudes or dudettes that that make themes for or music for TV and for films. Many times, very often, they are classically trained or formally trained. They went to college and studied composition, and then make what I call these moves, right? Classical music moves or really composer moves that you can hear that it's not typical of someone who didn't go through that formal process of going through that education, right? It's very simple, but it sounds very sophisticated and sounds like classical music to me. Cool. And as I was reading about the music, I found out that the guys who wrote the music, they picked this lead is exactly a part taken from a classical music piece. I don't remember who from, but if you listen to it, it's exactly the same thing. So they just lifted that and used it in their track. Now, classical music from hundreds of years ago has no copyright, so you can just use music or reuse music like that in your own tracks, right? And then I went, oh yeah, that's why it sounded just like classical music, because they took it from classical music. In any case, it's very simple, but very effective. And as is typical in the development of motifs and melody, it has a variation the second time around. Cool. And this variation introduces tension and some change. All right. And finally, let's take a look at the guitar, which I remade using a synth. The guitar part is also very interesting. Basically, it is playing the root note of the chords, F major, F sharp, major, F sharp, then it goes down to E, but then it is using some chromatic or out of key notes that introduce a little bit more color. So not only is this theme in B harmonic minor, which to our ear sounds a little different, the guitar player is also playing some notes that are not within the key. You could call them chromatic notes. Upon further analysis, they could be, because I did look it up, it could be considered a certain blues scale that changes when the chord changes. In any case, we have certain notes that don't belong to the key, which lend the music that kind of character. And with some delay, it sounds very close to that palm muted picked guitar part. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to make this. Typically, this is not a sound design kind of thing. I make patches on the fly, but I think this one is worthwhile to just recreate because it's very, very simple to do. Let me just save this one in case I screw up. Okay, I'm going to call this Knight Rider Guitar, and I'm going to save it here. And for most of the sounds, I just used Tao Uno LX. It's a very simple Juno style plugin. Any subtractive synth that you have will work for this kind of sound. All you need is to be able to change the width of the pulse, and that's pretty much it. So let's set this thing to default. Awesome. Let me get rid of the delay. Okay, so first things first, we're going to get rid of this sub. Okay, the other thing I mentioned is that we need a pulse wave. Cool. But it sounds like a video game, like Nintendo back from the 80s. And the trick here is if you modulate or change the width of the pulse and set it statically, meaning you don't want the pulse to change as you're playing. You just want to, let's say, make it thinner, but have it stay there. In a Juno style synth, or in this one Tao Uno LX, you go here to the pulse width control or slider, and then you push it almost back up. And here, how we go from a Nintendo sound, where here it's very square, and as I push the slider up, it turns thinner and thinner. Nintendo. Here it's very thin. And that's exactly what we need. Now we're going to play with the filter and the amp envelope. I'm going to bring the sustain all the way down. And we're going to make this very plucky by only using the decay control. And right away, we're getting very close in the ballpark of what we are going for. And from here, it's a matter of figuring out where to set the filter cutoff and the envelope modulation amount to get it to a place where it feels like a palm muted guitar. Okay, so here it's very muted, but it does sound like a palm muted guitar. Very cool, right, guys? Let's add a little bit of chorus. You could fool people with this sound. I'm sure of that. And across the track, it could be cool to change the envelope amount and to open it and close it gradually. That could be cool. Okay, but right here, it sounds very cool. You see? Pretty easy stuff. And that's it, my friends. You could do this on a Juno kind of synth or any subtractive synth that you have, as long as it offers modulation of the pulse width, where you can statically set it to sound very thin. And to make this better, let's add a little bit of delay. And a delay plugin that you have will work. I just like this one very much. And I'm using dotted eighth notes, very high mix, and it's in single mode with a very high feedback. Very cool. Okay, that's enough of the Knight Rider theme. So here's the thing. I said that we were gonna make Knight Rider theme inspired music. I've already kind of remade the thing here, right? And again, if you go online on YouTube, there's a lot of tutorials that will show you how to do this, possibly more authentically. But what I'm more interested in, possibly what could interest you, is how to use a theme like this or someone else's track. Let's say one of your favorite synthwave producers' tracks, Time Cop, Laserhawk, College, Dance with the Dead, whomever. And how can you use some of the things that you like from their music, incorporate it into your music, and create something new, right? Because this, yeah, it sounds pretty cool, but it's nothing original. It's I can't do anything with this. Only, I don't know, release it as an homage or something. But if I were to create a brand new track, what could I do? Now the trick is to use some of the elements, but not all of them, right? Because then it sounds like a remake. From this theme, I know for sure that one of the cool things that we can reuse is the bass pattern. Certainly, we can certainly use the drums to get us in that space, and for sure the guitar, like the palm muted guitar with the bass and the drums. To me, it puts us very much in that space already, no matter what we do. Okay, so for the purpose of this musical piece that we'll be creating today, I want to reuse these three elements, but I want to use a different key, a different chord progression. It's not going to sound as mysterious or as menacing or as dark as this one. I know, right? But I'm not trying to recreate that. I'm just trying to make something new that I like, that it's kind of in the ballpark. I'm not going to use the same kind of lead. I may try to make it sound just a little bit as kind of as an homage, but I'm not going to reuse it note for note. And in terms of the chords, yeah, I'm gonna use the same chord pattern, right, or the same chord line that I've used here, and I'm just gonna change the chords based on what I want. All right, so with that out of the way, let's do this. Let's copy all this thing over into this new section. So this is the original. I can't see this misspelled anymore. Okay, so this is the original. We're gonna forget about it for a while. And now let's tackle our own variation or our own invention. Let's mute the chords, the lead, excuse me, and the guitar. And think about keys and scales and all that for a second. Okay. Something very simple that we can do is, the original is in B harmonic minor. We could simply use A minor, which is a very well-known scale. It has only white notes, no sharps or flats. Or we could use the E minor scale, which has only one sharp, F sharp. The rest of them are natural keys, white keys. That's also very easy. Possibly for... Yeah, I'm not sure. You know what? Let me try something out here. Oh, and before I forget, this patch that we're using for the bass, it's just a standard fat line bass kind of patch, which is available in the Synthwave Dojo free Tao Uno LX sound bank, which you can get at synthwavedojo.com/downloads. I think there's like 3 bass patches in there. This one is the standard. Yeah, there's the pulse width modulation version of the patch, one that has more sustain, and I'm using just the standard. Okay, so if we think of this in E minor, we could do something like this. Or here, maybe. Sounds too high. Oh, another cool thing, I bought a new MIDI controller, so no longer am I just using my fingers and my mouse to to create music. I got myself an Arturia Keylab 61 Mark II, and I'm really excited because, like, most of the synths that I use are Arturia. It has all these knobs and sliders that are already automatically mapped to all of these parameters in the Arturia synths. Really awesome stuff, and it feels great. I love it. I really recommend it a lot. In any case, So if we're thinking about A minor or E minor, okay, so here's an A minor, well, A. We could do A and G. Here it sounds like too high for a bass, meaning it's in an octave that's too high for an adequate power and level in the bass. Or I could play it here. Okay. And possibly we could use E minor and go from E to D like this. Or play it down here. Let's see where we like it best. Just to have a more solid bass foundation, I would say the lower of the choices is the better one, but we need to hear if the patch is gonna work or not. All right, so here's our patch originally in F sharp. I'm gonna bring it down to E. Okay, and I'm gonna get rid of this turnaround note. Yeah, in E, this patch sounds good to me. And this is a very important decision because if you end up with a bass pattern that plays in too high an octave, like for example here, sometimes you don't get the adequate support from your bass, so it would be a better option to transpose it down to where it feels good. In this case, this patch to me sounds very good at on E. Okay, so that's settled. MacGyver's rule, use what you have, make decisions quickly. So we're gonna go with E minor, and our progression is gonna be E minor going down to D major, and that's that. Cool. So now let's change the chords and adjust them to our new key. We said E minor, E, G natural, and B. That's our E minor. And then D is D, F sharp, A. So I just need to change this one. And that's pretty much it. Cool. Let's duplicate this. And now let's tackle the guitar part. All right. E. And we need to be careful with the notes. We got E, F. F is not part of the key, so any Fs that are played here. I'm not sure where I'm going to play them. For now, I'm just going to raise them to F sharp. And there aren't any, or there is no C sharp in E minor, so I'm going to lower the pitch of these notes. But check this out. If I were to lower to D, then there would be a lot of Ds played in a row, right? So that maybe wouldn't work too well. So what I will do is, let me just pick these two D sharps, lower them to D while we're playing this chord, but then these other ones, I'm gonna raise to E, and these D sharps, I'm gonna lower to C. Let's see how that sounds. Yeah, maybe we could raise these to G. Maybe, right? And maybe we could raise these to something else. So there's no right or wrong here. I tweaked the notes to my liking. It's still very much in the ballpark of the original, at least with the rhythmic pattern of the guitar, but I just changed the notes a little bit to, like I said, to my liking. Cool. Awesome. So we're in great shape over here. The next thing is, and which may be the toughest, I think, is the lead. Because I don't want to just straight up use the same melodic pattern and the same rhythmic pattern, but I do want this part to somehow resemble or remind us of the original, right? Without being a note for note ripoff. So the first thing that I'm going to do is let me transpose these notes to E minor and then see where we are. And we're going to run the risk of getting this particular lead or melody too much in our heads and run the risk of not being able to get out of it. In any case, yeah, all notes from E minor. Okay, let's see where we are. So the great question is, from this, what do we keep? What do we change? How can we make this our own? And it's very tough now that I've listened to the original again. Certainly, maybe. What we could do is start with this figure, this motif, but then do something else, okay? And not have it follow this rhythmic pattern. And I don't want to do this either, again, because it just sounds too much like the original. And I want to get away from it just a little bit. Let's try to find a couple notes that we can play here that are also very rhythmically active, kind of like in the original. Okay, and these notes, I wanna have them follow the chords, like so. All right. Bunch of bum notes. Something like that, very simple and rhythmic. Okay, let's see if we can record this thing. Okay, it's a good start. Let's see. Maybe make these notes shorter. Yeah. I like it. Again, I'm trying to stay away from the original, just reuse at least this first motif, but then do my own thing. Alright, and for the second part, we could copy this over and then just edit. Let's see, let's play it from here. And I want to introduce a little bit of tension here towards the end. I don't want it to sound resolved. I think I'm okay with starting the same way. But here, let's introduce some tension by going higher. What about that? Not too sure. Nope. No. That's okay, we'll find something. Don't worry about it, guys. Close. Not bad. I don't know. Well, it's okay, you know. I like it. Yeah. Let's leave it like that for now. Alright, that'll work, certainly. So let's listen to the whole thing that we got. So we have enough Knight Rider elements to do something cool with. Certainly, yeah, it sounds a little different, obviously, but at least to me, the bass line, and especially the palm muted guitar with the drums, put me right there in the Knight Rider theme space immediately. And the first motif from the lead also. And since we have time for it, what if we created an additional element? Since I'm just using TauUnoLX, let's create maybe a pad? I don't know, or something else. I'm gonna route this to my synth bus. Okay, so we have the palm muted guitar, we have these chords playing kind of stabs, we have the lead. Possibly we could use some kind of brassy something or a pad. Let's see what we can do about that. I'm gonna go into my Synthwave Dojo sound bank. We have a mellow pad, pulse width modulation. I love PWM patches. Oh, that sounds very cool. Very cool. Sorry guys, I just get carried away sometimes when I hear something that, I don't know, inspires me somehow. Alright, so this mellow pad I think is going to work just fine. Which again is part of the Synthwave Dojo TauUnoLX sound bank. Which you can get for free, of course. And this is just based on pulse width modulation. So this is kind of the same thing that I just showed you. But here we have the LFO changing the width of the pulse instead of having it be set here statically with this control. I'm gonna get carried away again if I play it like that. In any case, let's move on. Let's see what we can play. So I'm gonna call this pad, I just like this very much. We could play one note, we could play two notes, a dyad, or we could play a full chord triad, or any combination thereof. Let's start with a triad, or just a full chord, and see how we like it. Just gonna do regular E minor and D major, and see how it goes. Maybe lower. Alright, maybe an inversion of that. Oops. Bum notes there. Again. There you go. Okay, so here's the thing, guys. As I was playing this, first I just did here regular old root position E minor, then D minor, D major. However, these bottom notes of the chords are really clashing and overlapping with the bass. So you got to be careful when you write parts for your main stack, for your tracks, when you're in arrangement and composition mode, that whatever parts you play, they are, let's say that they fit within the octave range, that you're not stepping on the toes of the bass, right? Leave the bass alone where it is. And especially the bottom notes of your chords and pads, make sure that they don't interfere with the top notes of the bass. So in this case, if I play this, I'm sure these two notes are almost overlapping the bass or getting very close into that territory. And of course, yes, I could use a high-pass filter to get rid of some of the bottom, but a better strategy is, instead of playing this E here, I'm going to play it over here, and that's basically my first inversion. The same thing with the D major in root position. I'm gonna get rid of this D and play it here. That's my first inversion D. So ultimately, what I'm going to do is play this E minor first inversion, and then move to this D major second inversion. So it's a very simple move. Right? I could, if I wanted, use minor 7 and the D. I don't want to use the dominant 7. For example, with this minor 7 here. No, I don't think it's going to sound good. So I'm going to stay with just regular old minor and major vanilla chords. Whoopsie daisy. Okay, and we said it was going to be here. I see a suggestion by Fork saying on the third repetition it would be cool to go up the chords. Yeah, that's how they do it on the original. It's not just F sharp major down to E minor. At one time they go up to G major. But like I said, yeah, definitely that would work. 100%, no doubt about that. But I just wanted to get away a little bit from the Knight Rider theme. And if I were to make that move, it would get me closer into that territory. It wouldn't sound bad. Not at all, of course. It would be musically appropriate. But I just want to, yeah, for now, just stick to these two chords. Maybe. We'll see later. Maybe for the bridge or something. In any case, here's our E minor, D major. Let's record this thing. Alright, you know what? I find that these bottom Gs are still a little bit too low. Better. Same as these A's, maybe like that. All right. Cool. I think this will work just fine. And again, we're getting a little bit away from the original theme in terms of the, let's say, the impact and the kind of sonic aesthetics that it has. So this one is tending to sound a little bit more mellow, a little bit more chill, but that's fine, right? I wanted to do something inspired, not necessarily recreate Knight Rider. That's what I did here on this section. But that wouldn't be interesting. In any case, we can still find ways to spice things up a little bit. All right. So let's see. Let's do a little bit of housekeeping now that we have a little bit of time. And let's look at some of these sounds and some of the processing just to get them more into shape. All right, in terms of the bass, I had already done some stuff to it. So I had just applied a little bit of EQ, high pass filter at 60 hertz, and a little bit of a dip here at 100 hertz. And I have a 1776. No, I always say that incorrectly. Yeah, it's 1776. I always forget. In any case, it's the purple audio version of the universal audio compressor. 1776, 976. I always forget, get it mixed up. In any case, it's just giving a little bit more body to the bass and a little bit more control. If someone can help me there in the chat with the right model for this thing. In any case, that's it. It sounds very cool. For the kick, I'm just applying a little bit of EQ with a high pass filter at 40 hertz, and I'm taking a little bit of the top end. I didn't want it to be too clicky. And then I'm also using this 1176 is the right, yeah, exactly. Thank you. Fairlight Odyssey. I was thinking about 1776, but that's the French Revolution, right? I think. In any case, that's why I always get it mixed up. 1176, right. And I'm just using this to give the kick a little bit more punch, solidity, and density. I'm just using here a kind of a slowish attack and a slow release, and getting about 5 milliseconds, 5 dB of gain reduction. And that's pretty much it. And I'm sending all of my drums a little bit into a room reverb, or actually it's a room reverb return, but it's a plate setting set to short and kind of a medium-sized plate with a short decay time, a little bit of pre-delay. That's how the kick sounds. Now we have our snare. I'm using also a high-pass filter at 80 hertz. I'm bumping here the in the 150 hertz range just to give it a little bit more body. And then this compressor is inactive. I might as well just remove it. And also an 1176 emulation by Purple Audio. Any 1176 that you have will work just fine, or any compressor actually with the same settings that I've been talking about for the past weeks, which are 30 milliseconds attack time, 50 milliseconds release, 4:1 ratio, and the threshold low enough to get between 3 to 6 dB of gain reduction, and release, that's like I just mentioned, works a little bit differently. So in this case, I'm going for a very slow attack, medium release, still 4:1 ratio, and I'm trying to go with a little bit more compression. Sounds good. And sending from this into the room reverb. Dry. Awesome. Now the hats. High pass filter at 250, actually. Get rid of a bunch of the gunk. Like, all of that is what I'm getting rid of. There's a lot of low mids and low end that I don't need on my hi-hat. So it is a great practice to always high pass your hi-hat, or what your ears tell you to do. And I go very high because all of this gunk, you can't hear it. I could go as high even as like here. All of that is what I'm getting rid of, and it's just gonna muddy up your mix. Oh, let's pull it back just a little. Okay, cool. And I'm not using a compressor on the hats, but I'm sending it to the plate reverb. So all the drums together. Cool. And in terms of the other sounds, let's do this. I always like to set up a shared reverb for all my synths. And I'm going to use Pulse again for this one. This is a plugin that I love by Wave Alchemy. Any reverb plugin that you have will work. I just like the simplicity of this one, how it looks, and that I don't have to time the decay of the pre-delay and the early reflections and the diffusion, all that. I have some other delays with all those parameters in case I want to, go down the rabbit hole, but I don't know, I just like to keep things simple, and if I want something in a general ballpark, like a hall kind of sound, this gets me there very, very quickly. So we're gonna go with a room, um, medium decay time. I'm gonna set the mix to 100%. I'm gonna give it pre-delay of 40 milliseconds or so. I could calculate the time of the pre-delay. Yeah, I don't know. To me, it doesn't make that much of a difference. This would be like a 16th note or 32nd note pre-delay, probably. I don't know, but in the range of 20 milliseconds to 40 milliseconds typically sounds good without having to do all the math behind it. Okay, so this reverb is going to be shared with all my synths. So let's take the guitar. We could apply a little bit of that compression as well and see how we like it. And I'm going to set this to 4 to 1. I'm going to set the attack in the middle, the release in the middle, and I'm just going to push the input to where I see about 3 dB of gain reduction here. Then I'll use the output to bring the level back to where it was originally, or to push it up if need be. And hear how the sound becomes more attacky. Yeah, there's a boost in volume, but besides that, it's like we can hear the attacks more, which is exactly what I was going for and what a compressor can help you do. Now let's bring back or bring down the output so it's where it was originally. Still louder. Still louder. Okay, if you take a listen here, when I engage the compressor, it has just a little bit more attack. Cool. That's that, and possibly let's send a little bit of this into our shared reverb. Not so much, obviously. And another thing that I like to do is EQ my reverb, because by default, reverbs very often or sometimes they introduce a lot of low end. I don't know why. Check this out. So this guitar part, where am I? What happened here? Okay. All right. Once again, guitar. It doesn't have a lot of low end, right? But if I send it to the reverb, okay. There's a lot of muddiness down there that I don't want. That's why I use the reverb, and I will typically bracket this thing, meaning I'll apply a high pass filter and a low pass filter using 24 dBs per octave, like so. Possibly the high pass filter, 300, 400 range, somewhere there, and the low pass filter, maybe somewhere there. But it does make a difference. And I don't want a lot of reverb on this guitar, like that. That's too much. Just a little bit. All right, let's tackle the lead. The lead. Okay, you know what? And because this is good practice, I'm still going to apply a high pass filter and a low pass filter to the guitar. But here, it has a lot of low end that I don't want. And here I'm listening. Yeah, like there. Same thing with the high end. Right there. Let's do the same thing with the lead. Let's apply a little bit of EQ. And I don't mind if we thin it out a little bit, because in the context of the track, I don't want it to have too much low end and low mids. Possibly there. Cool. And let's also apply a compressor, an LA to A self compressor. And just because it's very simple to use, no attack, release settings, ratio, or anything, I'm just gonna push this knob until I see about 5 or 7 dB of gain reduction in the meter there. And I know that this is very gentle. It sounds very good. It's not going to enhance the attack. I just want to, again, give the sound a little bit more body and have it stay in place in terms of level. I don't want it to jump and then fall back into the background. So I want it to be very like static and present. That's what this compressor helps us do. And now I'll just bring the gain back up to where I feel it was. All right. That's that. We can certainly send a little bit of this into the reverb. Right there, it's sounding very good to me. Let's tackle the chords. Yeah, more of the same thing in terms of EQ for this one. I don't want all this low end here. All that garbage, I don't want it. I want these chords to be very focused in the range that they're doing the best job in. And another thing, I'm going to create a dip at 2.5K because I want to take a little bit away from this frequency to give the lead more room to breathe. So the presence of a sound typically is between 2.5K, 3.5, 4.5, thereabouts. So by doing this, I'm gonna give the lead a little bit more clarity. Cool. EQ before the delay. The delay also has low cut and high cut. Alright, and just as the same we did with the lead, let's use that compressor. In compressor mode, bring down the gain. Push the peak reduction until we get 5 to 7. That's maybe too much. Yeah, like there. Cool. That'll work. And let's send a little bit of this one into the synth reverb as well. Too much. Okay, so here I felt that the high end of the chords are interfering with the lead. So I'm gonna get rid of a lot of that. And on its own, it may sound like we've really changed this sound and it doesn't sound good anymore. Yeah, you may be right, but in the context of the mix, I don't need this part to have all that high end. That'll give more room to the lead and to the other elements. Alright, let's fit the pads. The pad is also a great candidate for the high pass and low pass filtering, mostly the low pass. There's a lot of stuff down here. Cool. We can keep it very warm, like that. Awesome. And the same deal. Let's use the LA2 emulation compressor. You see, these pads, when they come in, they have this swell of level, but then they die out. So constantly, if you pay attention, it's like the pad is coming towards you, but then leaving. So if you set the level to where you hear it very well, once the attack portion is over, then it goes back into the background. So it's like this element that's constantly coming in and going. And I want to compress it so it stays where it is in terms of level, and it doesn't have that kind of movement. That thing is not bad in and of itself, but today I just wanted to stay where it is. And this compressor is going to help us do that. Alright, it may be just a little bit of the reverb. Because a pad with reverb can take up a whole lot of space in our mix, so we gotta be careful with that. Alright, so we're in pretty good shape. We're going to take a 2-minute break, and when we come back, we're going to turn this, our variation of the Knight Rider theme, into 40 bars of music, and we'll see how it goes. Alright, so don't go anywhere, my friends. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Break time is over, my friends. Thank you very much for reminding me to change or to stream back my DAW. And in case we're having streaming problems, I see some YouTube errors, don't worry, because I will upload this. I'm recording it to my computer, so if need be, I'll do just that and upload it separately. Alrighty. Let's see where we are. Cool. Still recording? Yeah, awesome. So for this portion of the show, what I will do is turn our variation into 40 bars or so of music. This is my plan. My plan is to have an intro. All these sections are 8 bars long. Intro, verse, chorus, bridge, outro. That's my plan. We'll change the plan as we go along the way, maybe, if need be. But I prefer coming in with a plan and then change things as needed than try to write bar for bar. Cool. The simplest thing we can do is copy all of this over into the chorus. All right. Now, I think I'm not gonna have the pads play during the chorus. I think I'm gonna leave them for the bridge. And this is one of those things where writing music, arranging, composing, well, specifically the arrangement part, is more about what you leave out than what you put in. Just because I created this pad, it doesn't mean that I necessarily want to use it during my chorus. Maybe I'll use it somewhere else on the track, or maybe it doesn't fit anywhere, right? That's also what I say and recommend. When you create your main stack for your tracks, just create 4 or 5 elements like this. For sure, bass, drums, some kind of lead or hook, then 1 or 2 other harmonic elements, maybe a pad, maybe a chord rhythm, or maybe an arpeggio. Not all of them, right? But 2 more. So you have 5 parts tops. So that gives you a lot of flexibility and leaves creative room for you to figure out along the way what else you need. Because you could very easily write 10 parts in your stack, and then you'll have a tendency to want to use them all in the same section, which is a train wreck, or maybe use them all throughout your track, and maybe your track doesn't need so many parts, right? So that's why I recommend just write or compose 4 or 5 parts, and then figure out along the way if you need other parts. So here, definitely I think this chorus sounds good to me without the pad. The pad is kind of muddying up the clarity of this section. All right. With that out of the way, now it's just a matter of working our way backwards and forwards. So certainly, I do want the bass to be in the verse, and I certainly want the drums. Whoops. Okay. Certainly, I want the guitar during our verse. I don't want the lead during the verse. Maybe this lead synth could do something, like I show very frequently, some kind of foreshadowing element, or I could create just a new part, a little bit of something, to help us get through the verse and into the chorus, or not. We'll see. Definitely, I don't want the pad, and those are the elements that I have right now. So let's work on the verse. Definitely, we need attention reboots, or ear candy, which is the same thing to me. Something to, even though it's just a short 8-bar section for the most part, people can listen to 8 bars without introducing change. I still feel like it's a little empty, and we could use a little bit of something there. Like I said, an attention reboot could be some kind of drum fill, some kind of sound, a reverse crash, or a filter sweep or swell. Any of those things could work. Just for the sake of simplicity, we could, if not use the foreshadowing technique of playing some of the notes and the patterns of the lead, but simplifying them during the verse, maybe I can just play a few notes here and there just to spice things up, to see where it gets boring. Okay. Something like that feels like a response to a call that isn't here. So that's why it feels kind of lopsided. Like I'm missing something. This sounds like a response to an element that's not there. Maybe that will spark the attention of the listener and help them get through this section. And something like that. I know I played a whole bunch of bum notes there, but it's fine. It's part of the process. Oh, I like that one. Here. Let me record that. I missed it. Okay. Alright. And some of these things are just easier to play than to find the right timing here in the grid. Although this is very simple, it can be a matter of trial and error of what 16th note am I playing, this and that, so this is just easier to do. What I could do is maybe the first thing I play is the call and this is the response. So I could just whoops, what did I do there? Don't know. Maybe we'll use the same notes, but doing like an opening statement, kind of in reverse. I think there's a reverse function in Studio One. Let me see. I think I've never used it before. Musical functions. Okay, thank you. Okay, here. Mirror. Was it mirror? If I don't find it, I'll just manually change the notes. Mirror on middle, mirror on first note. I'm not sure. Vertically? Nope. One more try. Just wanted to get fancy and use some of these features that I never get the chance to use. Maybe that wasn't it. Almost. Alright. Doesn't matter. What I wanted to do is... Okay, something like that maybe. Yeah, of course the timing of that is terrible. I just wanted the notes. I don't know if they're gonna fit. But let's see. Yeah, the second part I'm happy with. These are too close. Not bad. No, I don't like that note there. Not bad. Getting closer. I don't mind that. Yeah. I like it. Let's use this. Duplicate, but I'm not in the right place at the right time. Yeah, I think this will get us through the verse. I see a lot of great suggestions here about fading in and out the guitar pluck using a low pass filter. Certainly we could try that on the intro if we have time. I also see Renee saying the hi-hats should be shorter, some kind of staccato. They could support the staccato-like bass. Yeah, possibly. If you listen to the original, the hi-hats are pretty open. They aren't too close. So that was what I was going for. Certainly your suggestion of making them shorter is musically appropriate and would sound good. However, I just like the choice of having a little bit more of a trashy sound to the hats, in order to give the part more of a live feel, right? Not so because the drums in the original, they sound like they were played live by a drummer, not programmed in a machine. But certainly great observation, great suggestion. Okay. Possibly, yeah, maybe they're too loud and annoying. Alright. Yeah, this sounds good to me. And again, we're not going for the most awesomeness thing ever. We're just trying to get something done in 2 hours. MacGyver's rule, use what you have. Move quickly, make decisions quickly. Let's get her done. Okay, let's send this crash into our room verb. And let's also apply some heavy high-pass filtering. Cool. I don't want it to stick out that much. At least not the original hit. So what we could do is we could apply some delay to this. A very easy thing to do because the crash is dead centers. We can apply a Hass effect, which is just using a delay to pan your dry signal all the way to the left and just one repeat all the way to the right, but delayed by 20, 30 milliseconds. And that's the poor man's stereo or stereoizer. Immediately sounds stereo. Now it's too loud, possibly. Better. Another choice could have been just using a how do I get back to the default state? You know what? Let me do this. Let me get rid of this. I'm gonna save this as a preset. Oh, it's here. In it. And I could do a ping pong kind of thing like this. I think that's also cool. But I'm just gonna keep the Hass effect. Yeah. Nice. And I know that I want a crash at the beginning of our sections. There you go. bass are possibly still a little annoying. They're very loud in the original though. Alright, but all things considered, I'm happy with the verse. This is some of the stuff that I wanted to show you at the beginning. We talked about the tempo, the key, the harmonic minor. These are the chords used in the original. I wanted to show you how to create the guitar patch, so all that is done. Let me just write down our sections so I can capture some of the ideas that we have. Okay, to me, for the purpose of this session, I call it done. Some of the ideas here are a low-pass filter, the guitar, yeah, maybe, and we'll see. So the verse, for me, it's done. It would be cool to transition somehow. Oh yeah, instead of copying, I moved the bass. There we go. And to make things simple today, what I'll do is just program a simple drum fill here using the snare. Like so. Yes, that'll work just fine. And let me give it another color, just so I know that it has a fill or something different from the navy blue ones. Okay. Boom. Let's do this. We could certainly use a filter sweep for transitions, but I'm gonna leave that for later. I just want to take care of the big picture right now and work those details out later. So for the bridge, you know what? Let's do the intro. But I think, for me, the chorus is done, except for maybe some kind of a drum fill or tom fill there. Okay, so for now, I'm just going to do a different fill and see if we have time to do the tom fills. It's just that if I introduce the toms, then I have to balance the toms and add reverb and all of that, so we'll see if we have time for that. Okay, sounds different to me, so a different color. Alright, for now, it'll do. We can get fancy later if we have time. So pretty much I'm going to call the chorus done. Oh yeah, don't worry about it, Renee. I mean, your suggestion was very good. Musically, it would work perfectly, or it works perfectly. Nothing wrong with that. Just my vision was different than your vision. And that's the cool thing about making music, that it's important that I do things my way and you find your own way of doing things, right? And no one is right and no one is wrong. You just do what fits your music better, what fits your style, what fits your intention, your vision, because no one knows that except for yourself, right? So all of the ideas that I see here in the chat, they are very good. all of them would work, or all of them work. Musically, stylistically, those are great choices. And some of the things that I'm doing here or not attempting, just from a practical perspective, it could take me longer to go back and redo some of those things. So in any case, I'm just pointing out great suggestions there, Renee. Don't worry about it. All right, so we have the verse, we have the chorus. Why don't we work on the intro, because I think that's going to be a little bit more important than the outro and the bridge, or at least for this track. So let me loop this thing. And just like on the original, I think I want to have the bass straight from the get-go. And what about something we can do is to not give away the pattern, we can just have the bass line stay on E minor. So it feels like it's on standby or something. Okay, the release is just a little bit too non-existent here. And I don't know if you could hear that, but when the release is all the way down, there's like a bit of a clicking sound towards the end. We don't hear it when the whole track is playing, but on its own, it just kind of bothered me. You hear it? I'm just going to give it a little bit of release to get rid of that. Right there, that's enough. Cool. And maybe what we could do is start with the guitar here. Maybe do the same thing with the guitar. Not have it change chords. So where am I? Right here. So it feels like we're in a holding pattern, right? Like on standby. I like that feeling. And maybe we could have the drums come in here. Yeah, risers, reverse crashes, all of that could certainly work. I like the intro, how dry and in your face it is. Okay, here, let me start with bang. I could start like that, it's very abrupt, or I could soften this with a transition effect like a reverse crash, a filter sweep, something like that. Or I could do something, or actually it's not that, here, or with some kind of snare fill. Like so. Like, out of nowhere, right out of the blue. I like that. Like, we're punching the listener in the face. Hey, wake up, man. Cool. I like that surprise. Here, we could maybe, well, on the original, there's like this, there's a synth that plays a pitch bend, like from the bottom all the way towards the top. So maybe for this intro, we could do something like that. I'm not sure if I'm going to need a new synth for that or not. I think it could be interesting to do that. What I don't know if it's if that idea would then bring the intensity, the energy too much to the point where going then to the verse feels kind of like a downer. Well, one way to do that would be maybe to place that pitch bend a little bit more to the background and not have it so prominent. Okay, let's try to do that. Let's still use Tau Uno X for this one. Since I consider this, you know what? Let me. Yeah, I'm gonna drop it here in my synths folder. Make sure it goes to the synth bus. And let's see. Something like that. Here, maybe? Okay. Now let's see how to make this happen. Okay, the first thing that I want to nail is the bend. Then we'll work on the sound, because I'm not sure if we're going to go with a sawtooth or whatever. So let me look for the pitch bend control, if I remember where that is. Somewhere. Random intensity. Where was that? Portmanteau. Pitch bend. If any of you guys remember where the pitch bend control is, let me know. Or maybe I don't need the control, I just transpose it upward. Okay. Let me bring the level down. Okay, this is just going up a minor second or a tone, a whole tone. If I don't see that there, well, that's fine. It doesn't matter. What I'll just do is, well, maybe it doesn't matter, because if I give me a second just to find that. If not, I'll just swap this out for another synth. Lock middle alert, lock clear. Where was that? Not an MPE. Reverb delay unison, lock wet, pitchator control, velocity envelope, portmanteau, key transpose, max poly, voice mode. No, well, it doesn't matter. I'll just use a portmanteau glide. In any case, here, this is where we'll start the journey. And I want to go like 2 octaves. Let's see. No, I do want to get that pitch bend unleashed. Oh, man, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Possibly it's staring me in the face and I just can't see it. Pitch wheel. Oh, there you go. Woohoo! Or not. Oh no, that was just the the control for the pitch. Okay, enough of that. I'll figure it out as I go along. So certainly we want some portamento. Time, I don't know. Let's see. Actually, I think I have to do it like this. I wanted to go the other way around. This kind of sounds like the Laserhawk Redline. Which is not bad. I've always wanted to figure out how to make that sound. But I don't see the... I see here Renee saying, is it under VCO pitch wheel? Maybe. LFO control. Here? Oh yeah. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my friend. There you go. Now, but what do I do with that? Okay, the pitch bend. This thing only goes up 1 octave. You're a lifesaver, my dude. Okay, let's do this. Alright, pitch bend. Let's write some pitch bend here. Not what I was expecting. Okay, be that way. Alright. No portamento. Sounding cool, right? Not bad. Now, if I could get this to be a straight line, like so. Yeah, there's an easier way to do that, but that'll work. Okay, maybe I should start this earlier. Yeah, like here, maybe. And let's extend this thing. Let's call this the rev. Maybe we can make it faster here. Yeah, I think that'll work. Let's listen to the intro. Now we need to modify the level so it swells in and it's not so abrupt right from the get-go. I'm gonna try to go fast here. Okay, so this is where it is. And maybe from here. Too low, maybe. Yeah, it's too loud. There. Cool. Yeah, I like it. We could work on it a whole longer, but I'm just going to leave it like that. I do feel that we need, remember the reverse sweep that we said, a little bit of intensity here towards this transition. And what I'm going to do for now, put this here. Yeah, that'll work. Maybe. Pull back the bass here. Get rid of this here. And these are the kinds of details that you could really spend a lot of time getting just right. But I think all in all, we still need the filter sweep, but I like it. Cool. Let's listen to this again. Yeah, I like it. We just need the filter sweep. So I'm going to call this done in the interest of time. I'm not going to try out the low pass filter idea. Certainly that would work. That would be cool. But I don't have time for that. So done. Let's work on the bridge. So the bridge just like this could be that moment where the clouds part. Michael Knight has defeated the bad guys. He's driving home into the sunset. I think that could work, for sure. Right, for now, I'm gonna leave the bridge like this. I don't mind just having these 8 bars of nothing but the pad. Possibly we would need a couple of other attention reboots in there. A little something, like a sparkly something, I don't know, a sprinkling of something there. In any case, let's just work on the outro, then I'll figure out if there's anything quick that I could do on the bridge before we leave. So certainly, let's try to end the same way that we started. But, let's do this. Certainly, I want the guitars. Wrong clip. I like that for the ending. Let's just work a little bit. Maybe we can keep the pads going here. But maybe the pad can keep on doing this. Whoopsie daisy. Now it sounds like Glenn Fry's You Belong to the City. So it'll be a mix of Miami Vice and Knight Rider. And we could bring the lead, maybe. No, not really. And maybe, what if we use this too? Or reuse this thing? Yeah, why not? But this time around, maybe pull this one lower. Yeah, I like that idea. That'll work. I'm not too convinced with the outro, but that's fine. You know what? Let's reuse the attention reboots from over here. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Let's see. Besides the filter sweep thing, I like the bridge how it is right now, to be honest. Yeah, that's cool. Same as the outro. And for today, that'll be enough. Let's just create that filter sweep, and we can do that very simply with how you know if he behaves. I'm gonna drop this in here. Call this noise sweep. Let me get rid of this, this, and this. This noise sweep is going into my FX bus. All right, and let's see where we are. Okay, I'm gonna create my noise sweep here. And noise sweeps are very easy to make on a simple synth like this one. So the first thing we do is get rid of the sub, get rid of all the oscillators, just push up the noise. And we're going to create a note here. It's going to last for the whole bar. It doesn't matter which note we create, because noise doesn't have pitch. Okay, the thing I want to do is, let me get my bearings. Okay, we're going to start with the filter here, the cutoff. Do something like that. Maybe push up the resonance a little bit. Add a little bit of this delay. Certainly some, this chorus, I was thinking about the delay here. Let's add some delay, time. What about 8th note dotted here on the screen? Okay, like this. And there's a couple of ways we can do that. One of them is manually writing this controller. Yeah, let's just do that. Okay, here's our filter thingy. And let me do this. Okay, there. Now we'll tweak it to our liking. Okay, feedback, I need more. Spread, so it's on the sides. All right, that'll work. Let's hear it in context. Maybe it's just a tad too loud. Cool, I like it. Let's see. Yeah, that'll work for me. Let's copy over this sweep. Over to here, over to here, and over to here. That'll do it. Okay, let's listen here. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Alright, so we took care of all the ideas that we had for this thing. Let me just do a very quick recap, or just, give me a second here. Apply some bus compression. And do the same thing on my master channel. Very quick, let's just add some tape for fun and profit. A little bit of a transformer emulation. Give it more weight. And finally, our bus compressor. All right. Let's take one final look at this thing. We didn't use any of these. All right. Okay, I think we're good. So all in all, before we do the final playthrough and call it a day, just consider that we first started out with this one. Yeah, that very much is a reboot or a remake of the original. Then we tried to take some of the things that we liked, like the palm muted guitar, the bass riff, the drums, and try to create our own thing in a general ballpark. Again, more as an homage kind of thing, but not really trying to recreate it blow by blow. And of course, this is a very short journey. Immediately, I hear that this intro could be longer to give certain things more time to bloom and to grow, etc. But just for the purpose of this exercise, this very short 40-bar arrangement, which I call a basic kata, this is very good just to help you go from an 8-bar loop, which I call a main stack, and just give it more time, lay it out into an arrangement, and start figuring out how to manage the energy, how to build the energy, how to bring it down, where to use automation, this and that, right? It's a great way to use this as a sort of stepping stone between an 8-bar loop and a full-length track, which is very hard to do if you've never done it before. In any case, I'm really happy with the results of this thing. Let's just play it back top to bottom without any commentary, then we'll come back and call it a day. Now, as I was listening to this, I certainly wanted to hear more of it. Of course, it's a little abrupt going from here into the bridge and straight into an outro. This were a full length track, we would have, like I said, given this more time to develop. But in any case, I was excited to hear more about this track. Alrighty, my friends. So, this is all that I had for today. I hope that you got something good out of this. If anything, maybe how to recreate this palm muted kind of patch using a simple synth, right? You don't need a guitar sampler to do that. You can use any subtractive synthesizer and put these ideas to use, my friends. You've watched this, you went, yeah, that's cool. I know that. I like that. But then try it out on your own. And why not take inspiration from another show from the 80s, another track from a favorite producer of yours. Take a couple of the elements, 2 or 3 of the elements that you like, make them your own, and create your own, your new composition based on that, or using that other thing as inspiration. This is great practice, and this is a great way to develop our skills. So, if nothing more, thank you very much, my friends. I'll see you in the next one, and feel free to leave me any comments or questions right there in the comments questions, and I'll get to them when I can. Thank you very much, and have a great one.